into the second week of the Open. This is 23.2. I've got two of our athletes here, RX. We've got Justin and Louisa. They were here. We had Justin here last week. Louisa is a new athlete that we brought in for our RX category. We've got a special treat for you today because we are also going to be including our foundations and scaled athletes as well. So we are going to go ahead and get into the film. We just finished this workout. These athletes did a fantastic job, and we want to give you a little behind the scenes and some good experience from a knowledge base of these guys going through it and share what they felt in the midst of this workout. So we are going to go ahead and hit play. And we have started. So as we stated, we had Justin and Louisa doing RX today. What were the expectations on this workout when you saw it announced?
Gymnastics and pulling strength is pretty decent. So I was excited about the burpee pull-ups. I felt like the 15-minute window and the pull-ups and shuttle run was kind of just a mental grind. Like, can you just pick a pace, stay moving, and then kind of reassess as you got into the later minutes to kind of either like turn on the gas or pace it as needed. So was pretty excited when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that you dreaded? Was there?
I knew that the thruster at the end might get a little, hairy just after running through all that.
Nice. And Louisa, what were your thoughts? So the workout got announced. What were your initial thoughts? Were you excited? Were you worried about some parts of this?
Actually, I was excited about it. Like, I knew like 15 minutes is like not short and not really long. Mm-hmm. So, but I must like keep a pace on it and not get really excited in the beginning, like in a shuttle run as I did. Mm-hmm. But then I just like woke up and I said like, calm down. But I really got excited about it. It's a nice workout. I really like to do it. Mm-hmm. And I just like felt that I needed to keep a pace. That's what I thought in the first place.
Right. And I think one thing that we had all kind of like talked about, because we did the meeting beforehand, this is a workout, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but it's very easy to be baited into going too fast on this.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's very simple in its programming, but I think that that's kind of like the deceptive part of it, that you're like, burpee pull-ups are way nicer than doing regular pull-ups, and then doing the shuttle run, it's just 25 feet down and back. So especially if you're doing this in a room with other athletes, you can get too caught up in trying to go faster than those athletes.
Like this kind of workouts, when it's really simple, mm-hmm. like simple movements, you need to pay attention like on the details, like mm-hmm. how do you go up and down on the burpees? How do you turn on the shuttle runs? So that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like on the burpees, I was trying like switch legs and like jump to do the pull-up. And on the, like in the first set of shuttle runs, I got a little like messed up with my feet, to turn around. But then I got the pace and I could like turn in the right feet, and I got like how many steps I do it. Nice. So that was like a good thing, but I just like kept thinking the whole time, like what I need to do to keep like clean movements and don't mess up,
Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important part to mention too, is that transitions are very important in this workout. So if you guys haven't taken the time to actually figure out how you get 2 feet across a line and make contact with one hand, you need to practice that on both sides of your body before you start this workout. If you guys get into it and you're like, I'm going to figure out the shuttle runs on the way, you're going to feel like a baby deer learning how to walk, because it's very awkward to do that if you don't have some type of sports background where you had to do a lot of shuttle runs. And Justin, for you, what did you think about in terms of the shuttle runs and the ascending rep scheme, getting into those burpees? Was that mentally, was that hard for you, or?
I don't know if it was difficult. I just wanted to make sure that I was like in line with, as you guys gave tips prior, the pacing, because easily could get kind of baited in just going for it, because it is simple, like because of the couplet design. I wanted to kind of check where I was at around like the 7-8 minute mark, and then kind of check again at like the 12-minute mark, because my goal was to get into that 30 burpee muscle up rep range. So that was good. I mean, it was kind of just assessing, hey, where do I need to put on the gas, and where do I kind of need to step back and just keep cruise control.
Right. And I think that it's a good point too, because it's like, the description that we gave on this workout that we spoke with our athletes about is that you definitely look at this first part as being a marathon, so it's not a sprint. So what you want to do is kind of get in that first half of the pack in the front, but not in the very front. Because if you get there, then you're just going to like burn yourself out completely. So you think about getting to a pace that you can maintain for the entirety of that 15 minutes. And like Justin said, he used the 7-8 minute mark to reassess and see, okay, can I step on the gas slightly here, or do I just need to keep going at the same place? And then you did another reassessment at around the 11-12 minute mark to see if that you could push forward just a little bit more. And that's like in that marathon pace of like you're getting towards the end of the race, so it's like we're going to see if we can start climbing a few spots there. The biggest thing, I'm a big visual person, and one of the descriptions that we had talked about is like, you just got into high school, you got your first car, it's like a hand-me-down. You can't start it out too hot because it's not going to run well. So you think about picking a pace that you can ease into at the beginning here, and it's all about establishing a nice consistent pace that you could continue on for the entirety of that. Was there a specific place in this workout that you guys hit a wall, or that you were like, because the one thing about this is descending rep schemes, everybody loves, because mentally it's so much nicer going down. Going up is entirely different. So where was the wall if you hit one?
And the 25 set of burpee pull-ups, I was kind of like, oh, man. I was trying to count it. I was trying to count up or down or find like a good way to like mentally frame it.
Yeah.
And then that's where I kind of hit and then realized like afterwards that after I fought through them, then that following shuttle run is where I lost a lot of time, where if you were pacing that right and got after that one, you buy yourself a lot more time in that set of 30 burpee pull-ups. So that was the 25 burpee pull-ups was the huge kind of hurdle.
Nice. And then, Luis, what about you?
Like, I started really excited at the beginning, the first sets. So like I didn't realize that until like Jake told me like, come down. And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to come down. But I really felt on the 25 burpees, like I felt my arms, like while I was doing the burpees. So, and then I said like, okay, I just need to come down a little bit and keep the pace. And like, I just was trying like to step on the line to jump to the burpees. But I really felt my arms on this part, and was fun because like when I started the burpees, I was just like, oh my God, let's start I want to go to the shuttle run. And then when I was at the shuttle runs, I just like, oh my God, I want to go to the burpees.
Right.
And then it was like this. And I did the workout, and I think like I checked the clock and was like 5 minutes. I said like, oh my God, it's 10 more minutes. Okay. And then I breathed in, breathed out, and just kept going.
Right. And, and that's a good point that you mentioned too. It's like making sure, I think it's very easy to like not pay attention to the clock, but in a workout like this, glancing at it every few minutes just to kind of assess where you're at in that workout. And then the other thing too is that a lot of times when we're going through something like shuttle runs, we don't equate it to what it is that it's just short runs. So if you think about this as a 500-foot run instead, and you guys were coupling this with pull-ups, you would be shaking your arms out on that longer run. Yeah. And it's no difference here. So it's like you said, Luisa, you start to feel that fatigue build in your upper body. So as we're going through those shuttle runs, we can think about pumping those arms a little bit and trying to get blood flow back into them so that we're ready to attack those burpees once again once we get there. And all in your mind as well is like a burpee pull-up in itself is a very simplistic movement, especially if we compare it to last week where we had muscle-ups. And so you don't think it's going to be that bad, but when you're talking about quantities of doing 20, 25, 30 in a row, that fatigue definitely builds and definitely adds up.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to take our RX athletes, have them slide out, and then we are going to bring in our foundations and scaled athletes right now. So if you guys followed along last week, we had David Lane and we had Philip on our 23.1, and we have brought them back for a second week by popular demand. So welcome, guys. David.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be back.
Hey. Great to have you. Yeah. So we're going to kind of go same thing. So a very important thing for us, Mayhem Athlete, is that we've got athletes of all skill levels, and we want to make sure that our athletes that are RX, that are foundations, that are scaled, get a realistic perspective of what they are being confronted with during the open, because it's kind of like going into a haunted house. If you're the first one to go into it, it's scary. But if you have somebody else that goes in before you, it's still scary, but at least you know what to expect. So we had David as our scaled athlete, and then we had Philip as our foundations athlete. So I'm going to ask you guys the same questions. When you saw the workout announced, what was your initial reaction?
So my initial reaction, not knowing the scaled version immediately, was, we had pull-ups last week, and that's something that I struggle with and have in the past. So that was my first thought was, oh no, I'm going to have to do more pull-ups, right? I was very relieved when I looked at the programming and saw that it was like jump to a target, and that really put me at ease my ability to do it, right? And that's when I started to get excited of like, okay, these are movements that I know I can do, and I know that, I can pace myself through. Right. I'm still not great at burpees. Burpees are something that, I always get gassed with burpees. But just keep moving. You can rest at the bottom. That's something that I've always heard Jake talk about was it's better to get down and rest at the bottom than like stand up and just be breathing heavy and, stuff like that. And I don't know if you could see it, but there's times where I've tried to like take some weight off my arms at the bottom to get ready for that push back up. And but no, it was good. I was excited when I saw it, and honestly was excited for the thruster part because anything with a barbell, I tend to enjoy.
That's your jam. That's it. Philip, what about you? So we did foundations last week, and we did it again this week. You saw the workout. What was your initial reaction?
I just try not to worry about it. I just know that it's just a workout. You can modify it to however you need to. So it's just, I just went into it. It's like, it's just another workout like I do every day. And it'll be over in 20 minutes.
That's it. That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's right. And I think too, something that a great point that Philip makes is that I know that I had talked to Justin about this. I talked to David about this. I've even talked to our studio director about this. When the open comes around, people tend to turn into head cases. You treat this just like any other workout. So you're going to your 2 o'clock class, your 3 o'clock class, you strategize before you go in there. And if you're getting to the point where this is not enjoyable, you need to step back, take a deep breath, and remember why you're doing this. Because the open process should be something that's a celebration of fitness. You're looking at what you've achieved throughout the year, and you're testing yourself against yourself last year. So if you get into it and you start worrying too much about your time splits and you're like psyching yourself out to the point where you feel like you're going to need a puke bucket, not because of the effort in the workout, but because of where your head's got you at, relax a little bit. Like Philip said, it's just a workout, but it's a cool way to kind of standardize the testing that you do and compare yourself year upon year and even see where you were. If you started CrossFit 6 months ago, the open is still for you. We want to get you in there and we want you guys to test yourself, have fun with the people in your gym community, and just throw down a little bit. So for you guys, were there any surprises? So you said that you'd done the movements before. These are things that we've done in class. Was there any particular part that was sneaky that you were like, I wasn't expecting that?
Not really. I mean, burpees are probably my worst movement. So I was just trying to keep a decent pace and just keep moving as much as I could. And just try to get through the burpees, as not quickly, but just get them done.
Nice and steady.
Yeah, just nice and steady, and not to go too all out on the sprint.
Right.
Because that's probably the best time to recover some.
Yeah, I like that. And it's like, and we saw with you and with David, and we saw it with our RX athletes as well, is that you guys would slow down on a few of the shuttle runs to where you could kind of catch your breath, but everybody stayed very consistent on their burpees, which was nice. And so it's anytime that we've got a lot of reps that we have to do, so we get up into the 25s, the 30s, you stop thinking about the volume as an entire piece, and you just think about the next rep you have to do. So if you're like, okay, I got to do one more rep. Okay, I got to do one more rep. It's a little bit less mentally fatiguing than if you're like, I have 29 reps more to go, and I've already done so much. So David, with you, what about getting into this workout? You said that you were, once you heard the standards and everything, you were pretty excited about it. Was there something that surprised you in how easy it was for you or how bad it was for you?
Well, so I think, and I know Justin talked about this as well, I was surprised at how bad it hurt around the 7 and 8 minute mark, right? So I knew going into it, and after talking with you, that I wanted to pace myself, and I felt like I was going slower than I needed to go. And my plan was, okay, push in the last 5 minutes. But I remember getting to the 7 and 8 minute mark and seeing the clock and realizing I'm only like halfway through this thing, and I'm hurting way more than I need to be hurting right now. And so around that time, I started modifying my burpees a little bit, stepping up out of them instead of jumping out. That helped because the burpees really were it was the workout for me, right? That was where I was the most gassed, and then you recover a little bit on the run. But that was not surprising, but I was surprised at how quick it came on in the middle of it.
Right. It's good. And I mean, and then it's like that second half, you realize you got half to go. And then it goes very quickly, though, after you realize that. All right, so we've gotten to the point now where we are done with shuttles. We are done with pull-ups. So we are going to go ahead and have scaled and foundation slide out. We're going to have RX slide back in for me. And we are going to talk about some barbell lifting. And like we said, we are all about giving you guys the best perspective possible. So we're bringing scaled and foundations back in. So we're going to do a little multi-layer this time. So we're going to get Philip and David in the background here. We're sharing microphones, so we'll make sure you guys can hear us. So now we're on to the barbells. So I'm going to get perspective from everybody here. We'll start with Louisa. What was your plan for the barbell going into it? So just tell me the plan before the workout.
So when I finished the first part, I was just like trying to catch my breath. And like I drink some carbs and rest a little bit, like a minute. It's not so much time, like 5 minutes, really quick. So I was trying to get like first a weight that I'm sure that I can do. So I put like 175 on the bar. So rest 1 minute, and then I did it like to the body, like just feel the weight again, because 15 minutes pass and it's a long time. And then I was just trying to jump from 10 to 10 until like I failed. But I did what I wanted to. Like I reached 195, and then I felt really good actually, like just doing a power clean and squatting, a front squat and thruster. And then I felt really good with 195, and I jumped to 210. And then like I almost got it, was really close, but I think my arms were like tired from the workout, that's why.
It was the revenge of the burpees.
Yeah.
Well, nice. And then, so Justin, what about you? What was the plan going into the workout, and then what happened in the workout?
Plan for thrusters coming in within that first minute, like 60 seconds. Just want to take a few deep breaths and then lock in, just get something up, just get a weight up. So I had 135. It's like something you know you can do. Got that up, and then after that, I knew I wanted around 4 attempts, and then maybe one last attempt in that last 20 to 30 seconds to kind of just go for a weight.
Nice. And one thing that we do want to address, because we'll always talk about form, hitting standards in these workouts. One thing that we addressed with Justin was as he got to his heavier weight, there were some redips that were happening. So you guys have to make sure as you were going through those thrusters, we get complete lockout coming out of that squat. The slightest dip is something that could be considered a no rep. So keep yourself honest, keep your scores honest. And we talked to Justin about that. So it's something that the redip is something that can naturally happen just because we do push jerks so often in our training. But today, it's all about that thruster, and you got to lock out. So squeeze those glutes as hard as you can when you stand up, and do not rebend until that thing is locked out overhead. Philip, what about you? How was the barbell?
As long as you kind of go into it with a plan, even before the workout begins, you kind of want to know, you kind of want to have an idea of what your heaviest weight's going to be, because you're going to be exhausted after the first 15 minutes. So you don't want to have to think about the weights that you're going to use when you actually get to the bar.
Right.
So yeah, since it's just a single, you don't have to go too crazy with it.
Nice.
Because you're just doing one. You're just trying to get a heavy one, one rep.
Yeah. And did you have a heaviest weight in mind that you wanted to hit, or were you just stair stepping?
I was mainly stair stepping. I was kind of surprised I got to the 155 at the end. But I still had an idea that I wanted to go up, a certain amount each time.
Nice. And then, David, what about you? We need to talk about your performance because this man PR'd 3 times. His heaviest clean before today was 115. So congratulations to you, David.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
Thank you. So I really didn't have much of a frame of reference on like a 1 rep max, right? So what I did was kind of like these guys. I started with one I knew I could get, and that was pretty safe. And then from there, I went to the heaviest I've ever gone. And then after that was like, okay, anything above that is just gravy. And so it was good. It actually it turned out pretty good. But at that point, I was pretty smoked. I'm sure everyone was feeling it.
Well, and we see you right now. So you were smart in the way that you planned this, is that we had you guys wait, because if you get that barbell off the floor before the clock stops, if the lift is in the process, then you can still complete that even if you go over the time. So game that strategy a little bit. And if you have one last attempt, wait until the very last little bit of time that you can so that you can get the bar up. So with this, we saw PRs today. We were so happy to be able to throw down once again. We're hoping that you guys have a fantastic attempt on your 23.2. And the biggest thing about this is enjoy the process. We want you guys to have a great time, celebrate the community, celebrate the people that you see every single day, and see what you can do with the fitness that you've achieved throughout the year. Everybody's at different points in their journey, so you don't need to get stuck on comparing yourself to the other athletes that are around you. Just think about where you started at and where you currently are. We are so thankful for you guys joining us today. I'll let everybody sign off. You have one final tip you get one tip only to give the athletes at home. So we're going to start. Justin, what's the tip?
Just pace it and have fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I was stuck with the have fun and try to step down and step up on the burpees.
Very good. I love that. David, bring it into the mic. What do you have?
Let me get a little. Yeah, I would say so for the thrusters, you have more time than maybe you think you do. And so not to get rushed right out of the workout, going from A to B, take a minute, like compose yourself, and then
get ready for those PRs.
Get ready for those.
Get ready for those PRs. And then, Philip, you are going to close us out. So what is your one tip for everybody that's about to do this workout?
Don't worry about it. Just do it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. So once again, thank you from everyone here in the studio. We can't wait to see those scores that you guys throw up, and we will see you again next week for 23.3. Thank you.